Welcome back to The Gassing Station, the podcast that goes sifting through the PistonHeads forums like my co-host Sam Sheehan has been sifting through the classifieds for a Porsche Boxster. And you found one, right?
Yeah, it didn't take me as long as I thought as well. I saw a really
I guess there's a lot of them.
Yeah, I saw a really ropey privately sold one, not from PH, that was knackered, cheap, but knackered. And I thought, this is going to take time, money, brain power, patience. I can't be bothered with that anymore. So I found one that's actually in a really good state. It's a Boxster S. It's a 2001 car, but it's a Y reg. But it's got a private reg on it, and it comes with the private reg. Yeah.
Is it? Is it a good private reg, or is it like a Stuart 45?
It's S28POW, which I think stands for Prisoner of War. Don't know. That's what I'm going to call it.
I was thinking more like POW block from Super Mario.
Yeah,
Pow!
yeah.
You know.
Yes, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, well, there's a Lethal Bizzle song for anyone who listens to that called POW as well from a long time ago. But anyway, I don't know
what that is.
Yeah, it was a song. Anyway. It's lovely. It's silver, black interior, but it's a bit boring because it's just silver, black interior. So I'm looking already at like a center console that's got body painted silver on it, so it takes a bit of the black out of it. It sound, you're probably thinking, oh, it sounds garish. They did it from factory. This car doesn't have it. So I'm going to do a few optional upgrades that would have been offered by Porsche.
I was going to say, are you a proper Porsche owner if you haven't done some OEM modifications to your car?
Yeah.
Because you remember our best mate, Andreas Preuninger?
Yeah.
Who I'm desperate to get onto the podcast.
Yeah.
That's basically what he did to his Cabrio.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
So if he can do it,
yeah,
that basically means that it's fair game, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm not going to, my intentions aren't to like stick coilovers or and stuff like, you know, to turn it into a track car or anything like that, because, you know, there is some IMS related concerns. Not that this car has it. This car doesn't have, this car's oil looks clean and everything, and it's 73,000 miles, which doesn't necessarily mean it will or won't be a bad car, but I'm not going to drive it hard. It's just going to be a nice, you know, it'll be a daily, but in this job we have press cars, so it won't be used all the time.
It's true. But I mean, the Boxster S of that generation, 986.1, I think they were the more reliable of them anyway. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I
owners.
I think the 987, I think it was the S or one of them, the bigger engine car that was more susceptible to issues.
Yeah.
And then they had ball scoring and stuff, which this doesn't really have. So yeah, I think touch wood, it'll be safe. I could be reporting back in a few episodes time going, oh my God, I have no money left because I'm trying to do an engine replacement, but I don't think so. It should be all good.
That's a good excuse to stay tuned in to the Gassing Station podcast.
Will I be financially ruined?
Speaking of people spending lots of money on things,
yes,
we have a massive, huge topic to discuss this week. We are a little bit late to the party, but annoyingly, we didn't really know about it beforehand, and it turns out most of the car media didn't know that Ferrari just dropped its new electric car, the Luce. You have, I guess, the benefit of us coming to this a week later. This was announced the night before our last podcast came out, which is very Andy Ferrari. Thank you. But I guess the good thing about coming to this a week later is that we've had some time to digest it. You've had some time to digest it, and we can come about this hopefully more in a mature perspective, but very much from the PH approach. Do not worry, this is not going to be as a lot of people have been putting under certain videos, we're not doing the job of the PR, basically.
Oh, so, definitely not. I mean, I've had to let the anger subside. God.
Yes, there's been, well, at the time of recording this, where the story's been up for a few days, there is currently, well, I wrote down 1,056 comments. As soon as I wrote that down, another 2 went up. So, I mean, it is just going on and on and on. So, a quick overview of the car. It has 1,050 horsepower from 4 electric motors. Those are evolutions of the electric motor in the F80.
Are they in? They power each wheel, don't they?
They do.
That's
yeah.
That's quite interesting.
So that is a thing. 0-62 in 2.5 seconds, which is obviously very fast. Very electric car. 194 miles an hour top speed. 800 volt architecture, which means you can benefit from 350 kilowatt charging. or 22 kilowatts at home. The battery, 122 kilowatt hours, which means
massive.
a range of around about 330 miles.
That's not massive.
That's not massive, no. The car is massive, however, to fit that battery in. Weight, 2.2 tons.
To be fair, it could have been a lot more
for an
the
EV.
weight, for the
It could have been
battery.
a heck of a lot more.
122 kilowatt hours would have made me think 2.67 tons, something like that.
It's a lot lighter than an M5.
Yeah,
Yeah,
true.
So it is a big old beast, but could have been much chunkier. Got active suspension, obviously, to keep all of that weight in check.
Designed by Love Actually. Oh
And
no, I
it has
misread that.
been
Yeah.
designed by Love Actually. No, designed by Love From, which is the agency run by Johnny Ive, former design director at Apple.
Yeah.
The reason why all of your Apple products look as good as they do. And a chap called Mark Newson, who has also designed some incredible things. And I think he's got something like the record for the most expensive chair sold at auction. Something like that. He knows how to design a good chair.
Nice.
They were approached by Ferrari to lend their ideas in designing this electric car.
I
the
wonder what
Luce.
you were about to say there. I thought you were
I know,
going to
I
go
could have said
it's
something
monstrosity.
really very strong. I'm trying to be as balanced and as good journalist as I can be. So the facts are, I think even Ferrari is saying, we know this is a controversial car. We know that this was going to be a divisive thing. They explored the idea of doing a supercar,
Yeah.
but they realized it was a dead end. Just wasn't really going to work. So they wanted to do something different.
Why? I don't get that, because that's
straight
the first
into it.
question.
Why?
There's literally a Denza from China, BYD's premium brand, which is a supercar electric car. So it's kind of
Yeah.
so why doesn't it work?
The thing is that there are electric supercars out there. There's
Yeah.
obviously the Yang Wang that we've brought up on the
Wet Wang.
podcast, the Wet Wang. We've brought that up before. I'll say in defense of that is I've seen a Yang Wang and I've seen a Yang Wang doing its thing, and I must say it did not get me interested in the slightest. It just looks a little bit generic. This, I don't think, does look generic. So the best way to describe it, if for somehow you haven't seen the new Luce, it's very much an EV in the sense that the cabin's quite far forward. There clearly isn't an engine up front or in the middle or whatever.
The wipers.
I would say the wipers.
They've come off of an MPV.
It's quite something of where, so you know how in a Le Mans car, the kind of a wiper sticks up right in the middle.
Which is cool.
Which is very cool.
Yeah.
On the Luce, there are two of them, and they're at either end of the windscreen, so they kind of wipe kind of down and then back up.
They remind me.
Does that make sense?
There have definitely been MPVs that have used that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's been a lot of people that have tried to superimpose the front of a multipler into it. Should give you an idea. I would say the silhouette, and I'm not saying this in a mean way, Ferrari, is probably similar to that of a Polestar 4.
Yeah.
Does that ring true to you? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I see that definitely. And because the 4's the one with the no rear window, isn't it?
That's right.
Yeah.
So it's sort of coupe-ish. It's sort of not SUV, but high-riding-ish. It looks bigger in photos than I think it, or it looks taller in photos than potentially it does in person.
It's got a lower centre of gravity, I saw, than the Ferrari SUV, the Per Sangue. I'm going to say it right.
Yeah. There's some kind of chassis bits that we'll get into it, but where to start, Sam? Where to start with this? Oh my goodness. Okay, just tell me your initial impression first. When you first saw it, what was your initial impression?
I actually was shocked and horrified because it didn't look... I actually thought it was a joke rendering, because I was out of the loop on this and I was on press trips and stuff, so my brain was thinking about other cars, and I was doing my classic Instagram scroll, probably stood in an airport queue, and basically was like, what is that? What? And then I thought, well, it's probably a rendering. Some teenagers is making AI renderings of cars. Initially, I thought that has to be a BYD, or I mean, you put forward like if it had an Apple badge on it, or if it had like I was thinking if it was a BYD, I'd think it's quite an interesting design. I quite like that it's different.
I feel like no slight on BYD, but I feel like that is a a huge insult.
Yeah.
If you said, "Oh, if it's a BYD, it's fine."
I mean, just
but a
in terms of
Ferrari.
design. Yeah, because it looks like a tech product, doesn't it? It doesn't look
does.
like a supercar or a Ferrari. It looks like a tech product, and that's why I can imagine it being quite a well-designed car from one of the big Chinese manufacturers, and it's different to what they're producing. Like I mentioned, the Denza and stuff, and a lot of these cars that are coming out, some of them are really good looking, but they're not massively original. And this does look different.
They're not offensive. They're just forgettable.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Or there are elements that are taken from other cars where you can go, oh yeah, well this has got the back end of that, and this has got this. This is very much its own thing.
It is different. Yeah.
And I think, if you take the badges away from it, then I can go, that's a smart looking electric vehicle.
Yeah.
And I think if it was the Apple car,
A to B car.
you'd go, that looks pretty good.
Yeah.
But it isn't an Apple car. It is a Ferrari. And I think my initial impression when looking at it was, well, first of all, it kind of brought back memories of some really obscure Ferrari concept cars. Weirdly, the car that came to mind when I first saw it was the FZ93 concept, which was a concept done in collaboration with Zagato. I mean, that thing was kind of like I don't even know how you describe it, like an F40 style with a horrifically boaty redesign. And so my immediate thinking was, this is a properly wacky left field concept. And then you go, oh, it's the production car. And I go, right, I'm trying to get my head around what this is in terms of Ferrari.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, the first thing that came to my mind was the word mobility.
Yeah.
And it is a dirty, dirty word in the car world because it means moving from point A to point B.
Yeah.
And there's definitely, we definitely need cars like that. There are some very, very good cars that are good at getting you from point A to point B. A Ferrari, in my traditional opinion, should not be that car.
No, it's an event. A
It
Ferrari
is an event.
I think also the issue is, and you went through the specs at the start, I think the issue is none of the specs are astounding. It's all just, you even said, which is just very EV, it doesn't do anything. I mean, we'll get on to obviously getting inside the car in a bit, but like as far as the exterior design goes, it looks like a handsome car that's come from a brand, and that isn't Ferrari.
Yep.
Handsome maybe, but yeah, it's certainly an interesting design. And some of the design features closer up, you know, like the rear looks like it kind of reminded me a little bit of the BMW. Was it the i3 or was it the i8 that looked like it? It was the i8 that looked like it had swallowed a 911.
Yes.
It kind of reminded me of that. There's like a sort of a Ferrari inside of bodywork. And I saw a few AI or people have edited away that surrounding wraparound bodywork and created a more coupe silhouette out of the Luce design. And that looks quite good. Someone slapped a rear wing on it as well, made it like a GT3 race car. And I was like, okay, so the design elements here are quite cool, but it's just the shape of it that feels a bit like, you said, mobility. And then the numbers on the spec sheet, 1,050 horsepower, that's a ridiculously massive number, but you know, there's a 1,056 horsepower Cayman EV out at the moment, and that's not 600 grand. And there's a BMW iX3 that does 500 miles of range with a smaller battery, and it's a bit heavier, I think, as well, which is bizarre. So 800 volt architecture, you know, 350 kilowatt charging, that's bang on the money for today. I'd be expecting it to have some, you know, I think it was BYD, wasn't it, where they've announced they're basically on the cusp of a 5-minute or 3-minute charge time. You know, if this came out of the gates and they were like, right, it's move the volt game on, this will charge up in 3 minutes.
Yep.
You know, then you could take the angle of like, it's a massive tech step forward, especially for a European brand.
Yeah.
But it hasn't done that in any of these things.
I think the one thing that when I was really kind of looking into it that was going in the back of my head is, we've not driven it yet.
That's also true.
Some of the tech journalists have, and they're not allowed to share, at this moment in time, they've not shared their opinions on it. And I would obviously take that with a pinch of salt because they're going to not necessarily they're going to come at it from a different angle than potentially we would. But I think, you know, from what I've read, it's going to be very on the nose, like a Ferrari. You know, it's meant to drive, you know, that sense of agility, that urgency from the front end, which when you look at it from the outside, you don't get that impression because it looks, it doesn't look sleek.
No.
You know, it's got an extremely low drag coefficient, so it is meant to be very, very slippery, which you would expect again from an EV. But it doesn't look like a proper driver's car. But that's not to say it won't be. I have full belief that Ferrari have engineered this in a way, because it is underneath the whole thing. It's not no platform sharing rubbish or anything like that. It is a Ferrari designed, ground up electric car. So it is almost certainly going to feel Ferrari-ish to drive.
Yeah. And with 4 electric motors, I mean, you can do absolute wizardry with them. Formula E showing, not to get too into the boring stuff, but the stuff that will matter when you're driving it. 4 electric motors means it won't just be extremely potent and have massive traction, but they'll also be able to do stuff when you're turning the wheel and having brake and accelerator inputs. Effectively pure torque vectoring. Yeah. Without any need for like diffs and stuff like that. It's just pure. They'll be able to make this thing probably do insane stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's obviously something that we will have to hold off until we can actually drive it. I think the thing that I think is actually hugely positive is the interior.
Oh yeah.
Because you look at the interior, and it's the first thing that we saw, and I look at that and I go, that is game changing. Potentially a real game changer, because obviously it's very Johnny Ive et al.
When you saw the first pictures, though, what did you think? Do you remember, I'm talking like last year, was it? Last year, where they showed the eye? Because I was super disappointed when I just saw what I thought looked like an iPhone and an iPad, and I was like, oh no, it's so bland. Suddenly, seeing it in situ and with the mechanical switches with it, I'm like, okay, now it's kind of get it now.
It looks like what was so good about when the iPhone came along is that you had for years, and I remember I had a phone at school. It was one of my dad's old Sony Ericssons that had a number pad at the front, and it flipped down, and there was an actual physical keyboard behind it with buttons. And it was like, what a load of faff. And then you had a stylus. And then the iPhone came along, and it was just like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Here, it's super simple. Just do it like this. And it feels very much like that's been the approach for this cockpit, of where you look at some EVs now, you look at some cars, and you just go, you are going so big on tech, you have no clue. You have no clue what people are actually doing when they drive a car. They're so massively distracting. So what the team at Love From have done is they've gone, right, well, let's make it really simple. There is a touchscreen, but it looks all very clear and very iPad-y in the sense.
Yeah.
There's a bar below it, so you can actually rest your hand on the bar and activate parts of the screen without having to hover and, it be all difficult.
Exactly, yeah.
But there's loads of physical buttons for shortcuts, for all the stuff that you need, and it does look really smart.
I think the wheel as well, because it's the retro style wheel, it's really nice, and obviously the surrounding interior is it does have it feels matched, doesn't it? I think the issue I have with I spoke about the Mercs I've been driving recently, like with their setup, because it's just like a slab of screen. It kind of just feels like they went, right, we need big screens, and then there's very little else.
Yeah,
this feels like a really cohesive design, and even the stuff like the shape of the seats and the door cards are all matched to the other shapes within the car, including the screens. So it's a very nice interior. But that, like, if I could imagine that interior, which I'm now looking at on my screen, in a sports car, that would look so at home.
It would feel a real step forward, because even the dials are absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
They're really lovely. They are crisp and clear and traditional, but with a modern twist. The steering wheel, I do kind of wonder if it's going to look a little outdated. I think it's clean.
Yeah.
It's something that is a real departure from Ferrari's current interiors. But not that I have anything wrong with Ferrari's current interiors, but I think this kind of just looks really traditional and smart. People that have sat in it have said it just feels lovely. Everything is so tactile, and that for me is the step on so far I've seen with this. Is it's like, this should now be, in my opinion, the benchmark for the modern car interior.
Yeah,
not necessarily
analog.
Not necessarily the sports car interior, but I mean just for the car itself.
Yeah.
Just there's analog buttons where you need it. There's some tech in there for touchscreens and stuff, so you can access some of your information. That's fine.
Yeah.
Just make it like that. Make it clean. Make it simple. And that's also kind of the direction that a lot of design is going at the moment. The kind of the really flashy in your face stuff is actually putting a lot of people off.
Yeah.
Understated is the new cool, which is great. And I think from that perspective, the interior, they've smashed it.
Do you know, I've just noticed something interesting and very Italian. Pedals are offset. I mean, this photograph is, I think it's a picture rather than a rendering because it's the one Ferrari put out. The throttle pedal, the accelerator pedal, because electric cars don't have throttles, it's quite to the right, and the brake pedal is to the right of the center of the steering wheel. Now, it could just be a camera positioning thing, but I think you'd imagine in an EV, they can put the pedals kind of wherever they want. They don't have to worry about a transmission tunnel. They don't have to worry about, the fuse box having to be tucked down here because they can't get it in the engine bay. So it seems interesting that it's to the right a little bit. I wonder if that's going to be...
I wonder if that's for the existing Ferrari driver whose body is actually deformed and is kind of actually leans over slightly to meet the pedals. Although, from what I've heard, or what I've read, it's they don't expect the Ferrari buyer to be the person that buys a Luce.
No.
They say they're expecting around 80% of new buyers to be, or 80% of buyers to be new buyers, new to the brand, and 20 existing buyers.
And that makes sense, yeah.
That is kind of what when you look at it, you kind of go, I see what they're doing here. This isn't just Ferrari doing an electric car. This is, for me, a line in the sand. This is, I would say, an even more bigger deal than it is already being made out to be, because this is Ferrari going, okay, we're not just a supercar maker anymore. We're not just making performance cars. We're not just a Formula One team. We are also a tech brand.
Yeah.
And we want to get it. We want to go to people that they love electric cars. They've got no real interest in conventional driving or conventional brands. And so we want to capitalize on that. And we're going to give an electric car to them.
Yeah.
I just don't think that's, I think that's fine. Do I think that's a direction that Ferrari could go in? For me, a Ferrari is the kind of car that you dream about, even if you don't like cars. Yeah. Anyone who's not into cars, you'll say, the Ferrari, and they'll go, oh yeah. Like, they'll have an opinion on it. They'll know what a Ferrari is. You could drive down a street in a red whatever, and people will go, oh my God, it's a Ferrari.
Yeah.
I remember being in America, driving a McLaren, and I got stopped by the police. And they went, nice Ferrari, man. And it's like, it's not a Ferrari.
It's made in Woking, actually.
And I think if you saw this driving down the street, I think maybe you would turn your head because you go, oh, it's a Luce.
Yeah.
But would it give you that feeling of being like, that's a Ferrari?
Yeah. Do you know what they could have done? And they wouldn't be the first to do something like this. I mean, the Chinese brands are doing this, like BYD's done it with Denso in the opposite direction. They could have just made an offshoot of Ferrari as a tech brand. And I know that's another big... I'm sure there are plenty of reasons why they haven't, and maybe that's to do with share price, etc. I don't know, although that's not exactly gone the right way, has it? But this car clearly is full of... I actually just fact-checked myself, but the battery tech, the motors, etc., is all in-house. So this is, as you say, a statement of tech. It's not them going, okay, we're going to buy stuff off the shelf and then just make an EV using our chassis know-how, which a lot of other brands would do. This is an in-house product from the ground up. So there is great reason for them to do, in terms of long-term tech development. This now, they've got the knowledge, they've got the hardware to continue building EVs in the future that maybe are more PistonHeads relevant.
Yeah.
So that's an okay thing, but it's just because it's got the prancing horse, which reminds me of the Luca
Luca di Montezemolo's
that's the one.
Response was, I mean, it's in Italian, so there's no direct, I
you
can't
can just
get an
read
exact,
him though.
Yeah, but it's, so he was cornered, and as you put it, looks like he's just come out of court.
Looks like he's come out of court and lost a massive amount of money in the process.
Because he has the face of a man who's about to break down in tears.
Yeah.
And, essentially said that it doesn't deserve to have the prancing horse on it.
Well, that I think, I could so have imagined Ferrari, what elements could you take from, you could have taken away the horse and it could have just been, I don't know, there must be another logo they could have used. You could have had an F in there or something. They could have done what they did with the Dino back in the day, where they had an offshoot and it never ran the prancing horse. And became a sort of a side brand. And then this could have been their statement of tech. And then, one day in the future, they could have, when the world is ready for it, or if that ever happens, then they could have blended the two. It just feels like a real shock to the system. And clearly, it's had an impact on their share price.
Well, I mean, there's...
I've lost £3 on my investment.
He was... which
is,
unfortunately, I mean, the amount that was wiped off was in the billions from that announcement.
3 of those Pounds are mine.
But I was thinking, it's obviously like anyone who's kind of older and of a former, the former head of let's, Montezemolo hasn't been at the head of Ferrari for 12 years. The whole world has moved on a lot since then. But this is a man that was known as El Commendatore, the commander. And I think he was dubbed that by Enzo Ferrari himself.
Yeah.
So this is a man who was literally chosen as Enzo's successor. He is the person that transformed Ferrari into the modern high-performance brand that it is today. High-tech even, to be honest. Is the man who introduced the paddle shift gearbox, brought loads of Formula One tech into Ferrari, made Ferrari the Formula One powerhouse that it is, or even more so.
Yeah.
And so his words do carry some serious weight. Let's go into the comments. There are literally thousands of them. And surprisingly not as, I say surprising, PH, we can always rely on actually providing some really good debate. So Woody, the first comment, surprisingly balanced, I'd say. Do I want it? No, I don't want a Ferrari EV. Do I appreciate a design that's clean and not aggressive for once? Absolutely.
Fair point.
More of this, please, but with V8s and less weight and fewer doors. Yeah, I mean, if this was the blueprint for some future Ferrari designs on a completely different body style,
yeah,
maybe it wouldn't be too bad. I know Flavio Manzoni's had a lot of flack in recent years. I think his designs are looking a heck of a lot better now, to be honest.
Yeah.
And he was involved in this project, but maybe a more simple design for cars in the future. Not the worst thing.
All of the Ferrari lineup, I think, currently is just too aggressive. Everything in their supercar lineup, even the 12 Cylindrian and stuff, which is the slightly prettier ones, but they're still really, really aggressive, aren't they? And so this tones that down. As I said at the start, like some of the edits, the CGI edits, and people who've been out there using AI or whatever they're doing to edit this Luce design into a more Ferrari silhouette.
Yeah.
It doesn't look bad as a sports car when you peel two doors off and maybe take away a little bit of the extra bodywork on the rear. It could be better. It's just the shape, isn't it? So I agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely. However, Juan B says, imagine saying to your mates you've bought a Ferrari and you pull up in this. I've seen a lot of comments like this. And it's kind of like, it's obviously meant to be tongue-in-cheek, but you kind of go, you're not wrong. But then again, that kind of goes back to something, and I'll bring this up a little bit later as well, is that it's not designed for you. It's not designed for you petrol heads out there. It's designed for people that are not interested in cars whatsoever. So if all your mates are in Silicon Valley and they don't like combustion engines, but they love their Tesla, and you turn up in this, it's like, I guess, wow, this is the pinnacle of mobility. Oh, horrible word. But well. Number 9, this encapsulates the issues for performance car manufacturers if they are forced into EV. It just isn't interesting, and certainly not interesting enough to justify the price. The interior is nice, the exterior is pretty standard EV, and the powertrain is going to feel like other EVs, just a bit faster. I think that last point is hard to know until you drive it. I have a lot of faith in Ferrari for making an EV that feels brilliant to drive. Look at Porsche with the Taycan.
Yeah. And the Cayman, which is even more physics defying.
I mean, they are fantastic to drive.
Yeah.
They're fantastic to drive. And I drove an RS e-tron GT recently that felt like it was drastically different to the one I drove when it first came out. Driving a heck of a lot better.
Yeah.
So you can make EVs that are good to drive. And if it does have that really kind of pointy Ferrari feel, that's going to help.
Yeah, and it will cover the weight. But I suppose it's fair that it will definitely. I have high hopes that it's going to drive really, really well, and I think they are going to, with the 4 motors in particular, they're going to have such flexibility to make this thing drive however they want.
They've actually, just to end on, and they say EVs are great in the right situation, but not for staring longingly into your garage or for getting up early on a weekend to go for a blast for no reason other than fun. And in my opinion, that's what a performance supercar is for. And I'd throw in there what a Ferrari is for.
Yeah, and so that agrees with you. This is for mobility, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Sofa says, in a sense, I do admire Ferrari for actually trying something radically different for their first EV, but I'm not convinced they've stuck the landing. I like some of the ideas and do think the interior is a great bit of design and far better than almost any other modern Ferrari, but it suffers from classic EV curse of being too tall and ungainly. I guess we'll hear how well it drives in due course, but it'll have to be pretty bloody revolutionary to be worth the extra money versus something like a Taycan. Comment of the thread, I think.
Yeah.
Admittedly, I've not read through all 1,050, whatever we're on now, but that is, I think, accurate approach to what it is. It's like, do I think they stuck the landing? I just don't know. The thing is that it's just, for me, it's the effect it has on the brand.
Yeah, and also the price thing is true, right? If it was 160 grand, you would be like, well, at least it's that's quite a lot of car. It wouldn't be a Ferrari, yeah. But if it was the new entry level car, I mean, they'd have to tone back the performance, I presume, with that.
It's got to be exclusive and it's got to be desirable. It's just, I don't think it's desirable for people like us. But for people who are in the tech world, I think it is a huge draw. NJJ, if it had a Lancia badge, we'd possibly applaud it for its clean sheet design / fresh start. I loved this as well because I thought exactly the same. I thought if you put a Lancia badge on that, it's revolutionary. Because that's what Lancia is known for. They are going big on EVs at the moment, and while I would love twin-charged Delta S4s and supercharged 037 recreations, I know that that's not going to happen, and Lancia was a technology pioneer traditionally, and so maybe something like that would happen. Could you imagine, however, Stellantis forking out hundreds of millions, if not billions, on developing something like this and then slapping a Lancia badge on it and going, hey, remember Lancia? It had to have a Ferrari badge on it. And TGOTF/Dewey says, well done, Ferrari. That's the best looking bed for a 5-year-old I've seen.
Oh, yeah, that would be a great bed, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it really would.
Yeah. Heated blanket.
And I've heard it's very spacious.
Yeah.
I've heard it's very spacious. Look, I think we probably need to kind of formulate our opinions on this and kind of deliver a final line because, even with this time to digest, as you can probably tell from the last half an hour of us rambling, there's so much emotion that this drives, that this kind of stirs and makes you think like, why Ferrari? I understand, but I also, why?
Yeah.
Why?
I want my £3 back.
So, your closing statement, Sam, on Luce before we've driven it.
It makes me think of the Lotus Electre, right? Which is apparently they've sold 10,000 of those globally, and obviously, as we know, the Emira is struggling, which is a real shame.
Yeah.
It makes me think of that, but in the Lotus world, that SUV, as much as it offended the Lotus purists, it wasn't quite so shocking, I guess, in many ways. And also, it slotted in, because of the pricing, into a pretty popular segment. There are wealthy business owners and company car buyers who are clearly using it as their choice in that regard. Whereas this slots into a totally different world.
Totally different.
And I just don't see how this is going to, outside of your billionaires, your young tech billionaires, maybe in China in particular, I just don't see how this is going to have any appeal to anyone. And because even tech lovers, like, how many people can afford this?
It's quite interesting actually you bring that up, because I think of who's the most prominent billionaire car person that is in tech. Elon Musk. Could you imagine Elon Musk driving around in something that isn't one of his own cars?
No, he wouldn't. It's not going to happen, is it?
Probably not. But there are many billionaires in the world.
I'm not convinced on it. I think it will sell a few, and I guess they need to. I did find a report. I couldn't actually access it because it was on The Economist, but there was suggestions that they have capacity, or they're expecting. I think expecting is the wrong word. Probably hoping to sell 9,000 over 4 years, but that seems like a massive number.
That is. I mean, I did some very, very basic maths on this, and that comes out to well north of $5 billion pounds, dollars, or whatever, billion in revenue over 4 years.
Yeah,
because it's just shy of 2,500 a year.
Yeah.
So it's a heck of a lot. I mean, to find 9,000 people that are going to buy these cars, but hey, it's going to bring their fleet emissions down.
Yeah,
which is really good.
Yeah.
So I would be. It's a similar thing when the iPhone came out. There was a lot of people going, "Who's going to buy this?" Because it was really expensive, and I mean, everybody bar a select few has an iPhone these days. Maybe we're all going to be driving Luces.
I mean, if they, I think the key difference is Ferrari, the jokes I've been seeing is like, are you going to have to buy about 5 Luces before you get considered for the next supercar Ferrari? I think that's potentially where this might end up. People just buying them because they know they want the next big V12.
I think that's it. Well, it's actually interesting that you brought that up, because I've seen a couple of videos recently from Ferrari where they've had Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc, their Formula 1 drivers, promoting the F80 and the Luce. The thing I find really interesting about that is I was on a launch a few years ago, and there was one of the PRs said, we don't get our Formula 1 drivers involved with the cars because we don't need a Formula 1 endorsement. It's a bit like, I consider it a bit like a watch. A watch doesn't need to be car related, because the bonds that a watch has with a car it doesn't need clarifying. It just is. I think and so I think that kind of speaks volumes. But the thing that I guess I find a bit challenging is it's very easy, and I think when you kind of read this kind of stuff is the line being, it's not for you, it's not for us. That is it's a thing that we hear a lot about electric cars these days, and it is something that I believe is not for us. Ferrari acknowledges that it's not for you. I know that it's not for me, but I still don't think that's really kind of the best excuse. I kind of think about the Ferrari brand in general, and I kind of feel like anything that comes out of Ferrari should be for me. It should be about passion. It should be about loving cars. It should be about loving driving, and that kind of feeling of when you see something that you've dreamed of for your whole life, it gives you butterflies, and that sitting in it for the first time is like, I'm in a Ferrari.
Yeah.
And I don't even think it needs that growl of a V8 to start up. It just needs to feel special, as if you've just walked into something that has been passed down from heaven itself. And as a car lover, the Luce doesn't do that to me yet.
No. Yeah. Let's drive it. Maybe we can get going.
I think that's it. We need to drive it. We need to see it in person. But
it doesn't have that initial pull. The covers come off it. You don't go, whoa. You just go, interesting.
Wow. Yeah, exactly. There we go. Emotions running high, and can't wait to see it. I'd love to be proven wrong, and I'd love to, look back on it and it be one of those cars where you go, well, we were wrong about that, weren't we? Something that we can all relate to a little bit more is a topic from Pride of Anglia. And
is he a canal boat?
Yeah, I know. This is a real kind of boaty name, but not like a yacht name. Like
Pride of Anglia.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like your local lake has got like a little canal boat just dicking around in it. And they say, afternoon all, wondered if the collective wisdom of PistonHeads can offer any guidance on my current first world dilemma. I have a 981 base Cayman, which has been brilliant, and also an S2000, which is also superb. But due to limited garage space, I want to get one car to replace the two. 981 Boxster S or GTS with a bit more money on top is the obvious choice, but I have also thought about an old shape M4, but aside from this, I'm struggling to think of any viable alternative. I do love a convertible in the summer, but also want something I can use all year round, which will be stored outside on the driveway. Has anybody got any suggestions? Budget would be around £30,000. Right, before you tell me your suggestions, I'm imposing a Porsche ban on this, because the obvious... if you say, I want a 981 Boxster S/GTS, that's a pretty good... Yeah. That's a pretty good all-rounder. But if you want something genuinely a little bit different, and you go, there could be some other stuff out there, this is kind of what we've gone with. So we're offering up alternatives, slightly left field. Yeah. What you got, Sam?
Because obviously, naturally, because I saw a 996 as well in budget, which is quite nice. But I haven't gone for that. I've gone for a TVR Griffith 500. I love these cars. And this one's in red. And I forgot how brilliant the wheel design was on this. Now, I know this is a car that's supposed to live outside all year round. And I don't know whether these are as sieve-like as some other TVRs, but I believe that they're pretty good. You could get cover for it. I think it's an absolutely stunning car, and it's £25,999. And look, it's a 1998 car, just 33,000 miles on the clock. So this is a gorgeous car.
Oh, yeah.
Monza red. It looks like the hood's been refurbished as well. It looks like it's been replaced, because that is like absolutely mint.
And a proper use of the word hood there for the top and not the bonnet, just in case you were worried there.
Sorry,
that Sam had become American.
Yeah, no.
No, this looks lovely.
It looks gorgeous. Look at that interior.
It's something that I see more and more of TVRs these days, of where they come up for sale and you go, oh God, that's good.
Yeah.
And the interior is good. And it's got all the right, ticks all the right boxes when you look in the description, because then you realise, yes, because the ones that don't tick all the right boxes probably aren't around anymore.
Yeah.
But the ones that are cared for are so utterly desirable. Love a Griffith 500, especially in red, and especially one that's in as good condition as this. 25,999.
Yeah.
I say it's a lot of money, but they hold their value so well,
And this one is honestly mint. I mean, you can see, like, if you just skim across the pictures, you can see the wheels are mint, tyres look like they've got a bit of tread on them, exhaust. I mean, look at the pipes. The pipes are like they're brand new. It is.
Oh, and the pipes on a Griffith 500 are great, because they just sag, don't they? Just kind of hang out the back as if to be like, just kind of. It's almost like a gun show, isn't it? Yeah,
great service history. So honestly, if you've got this cash and you're thinking a car that will hold its value and give me plenty of smiles per mile, this is going to be it. Not least because of that V8 sound.
So it's something if you're after something a little bit more brutish.
Definitely,
I think that covers it.
It might need a bit of a cover in the winter, whereas a much more modern alternative, a 2019 BMW M2 competition, I think could live quite happily on your driveway, so long as you've got a steering wheel lock, because,
Would you have one of these over an M4?
I like the M2 more, yeah. I'm an M2 guy. I think these are perfect size. You can actually drive them properly in the UK.
True.
On B roads, that is.
And being a competition means that it does have the M4 engine as well. So it's a proper M engine versus the N55.
And this is in all black. It's kind of murdered out, but you've got some lovely wheels. I don't know what they call their wheels, BMW, but it's really, really lovely. Outlook is one previous owner as well. 72,000 miles. So fair play to that owner.
Yeah.
It has been used. But if it's a one previous owner car, you've got to assume they've got it from new. They're going to have probably loved it. Looks in great condition. It's fairly high mileage, but, looks absolutely mint.
Yeah, it does look. It does look superb. This is actually a really great shout, because if you think about what they've got at the moment, yes, the Cayman's mid-engined, but I mean, it feels like the more natural combination of an S2000 and a Cayman.
Yeah.
It's like, I want to bring those two cars together. What have you got? Something like this. And this one's a manual as well.
Oh, yeah, it's a manual. God, I didn't even call that out. I just was thinking, lovely car. But you're totally right. That's actually one of the main reasons why this would really fill that box quite nicely.
Oh, it's really annoying. It's a really good car. Yeah, I think if that was my... that's a really good shout.
I just love M2s. And I think this... I mean, the current... I've not driven the current M2. I've only driven the M240i, but... And that, which is brilliant, by the way. But the new M2 comp, I'll be driving one next month, and I'm really excited to, because they've really... It was a CS, actually. It's an M2 CS. It's got the lovely dovetail spoiler on the rear. The design on that has really grown on me, but I still think I'd prefer this design. I think this looks really, really good. And with the comp, obviously, it was lifted a little bit in terms of chassis and stuff, so it's just a great rounded car.
Absolutely. It does need, I think, a little bit of exhaust work, though, to make it sound good.
Yeah, that's true. This is pre when all the massive filters were thrown on everything, wasn't it? I think.
It was post.
Is that post WLTP? Yeah, so it will need a little bit of work. But, you've got 750 quid there in the tank left over from that budget.
Go whack a cat back on it.
Yeah, exactly. That said, something that definitely doesn't need help in the exhaust department is my final choice, which is a 2006 Aston Martin V8 Vantage. I mean, I've always loved the V8 Vantage. And
Delicious.
This one's, just a beautiful car. And I love this colour on this one. It's like a slightly minty, just a bit off green, but silver colour, isn't it? It's gorgeous. I don't know what it's called.
I think even the name of it, I can't remember fully, which just shows you how the terrible journalism work I'm doing at the moment. But I think it is called like just green or something like that, or like slightly green. Yeah, it's but yeah, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. Shows off those. People can't really tell if it's a Fisker or Ian Callum design, can they? There's kind of like a little bit of a war over that. Yeah. But either way, maybe the prettiest design of the 21st century.
Yeah,
the most timeless one.
So compact on the road as well. It's like it's a short wheelbase, compared to other sports cars. So pretty. This particular car, 69,000 miles away, and it's got a ton of spec on it. Ton of spec. You know, you've got everything from, the sound system, the 700 watt upgraded Dolby Pro Logic 2 sound system. That's so of the time. You've got, cruise control. I don't even know if that's standard, but certainly you've got, sat nav, cruise control. And I'm sure you could, if you really wanted to, if this was to, it doesn't sound like he's going to be doing many miles, but if you wanted to, you could probably get yourself a nice little singled in Apple CarPlay in there, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. This is, I think the most important thing though, is that some of these more affordable V8 Vantages can sometimes be a bit tired, a little baggy. This doesn't look it. This does look like it's been really well looked after. Only 4 previous owners. I think that's not bad for a car that's 20 years old.
24,995.
Yeah, that's a good shout, Sam.
It's
just not as good as my ones, obviously. So this was challenging because yes, the obvious thing was I just want a Porsche Boxster and then call it a day. But no, we're going to do things a little bit differently. And the first car is, I was going to say, is my most left field option. No, the next one is actually. This one's relatively left field, but it's a Nissan 370Z Nismo. I drove a 350Z recently for our sports car triple test that we did with a Honda S2000 and a Mazda RX-8. And I know it's not obviously the same car, but they're obviously are connected. The 350Z was genuinely such a treat to drive.
Yeah.
It wasn't the most engaging thing in the world, but it was way more than I was expecting. Really nice mix of being a GT and a sports car. And I just think if you had something like the Nismo 370Z, which is going to be a little bit more refined and have a bit more power, 340 versus the 300 that I had in my 350, it's just going to feel so much more alive. Obviously, the damping's a little bit stiffer as well, and it's got some real theatre to the looks. I think these look absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, very Japanese as well, like in that
very much so. It's got those big arches at the back, little ducktail spoiler. This one is the pearl white, which I think is absolutely lovely. Red accents on it. It's just a really cool car, very different to what he's had before, but it was my Japanese car. I had an S2000.
Yeah,
I think this is kind of a nice progression onto that. It's not a convertible, however. So it's 25,995, 17,000 miles, 4 previous owners. Really smart, but again, not a convertible. And they did say, I quite like a convertible. Well, if you like your roof off, Pride of Anglia, then I've got a car for you.
This is silly.
No, it's not. It's a perfectly good choice.
But given the driveway scenario.
Yeah, true. One car to do two. Maybe this is not the best choice, but it's a Xenos E10R. Yeah. If you don't remember what a Xenos E10R is, because they were pretty niche and they weren't around for all that long, they were 2-seater, they're almost like kind of a closed wheel Caterham, really, aren't they?
Yeah, and they kind of that would be a compliment to the guys when they were doing it, because I think they were trying to make a more usable and a more a track day, albeit with no roof, year-round friendly car, and it's got space. And
have you driven one of these?
Yeah, I have years ago. I'm trying to remember when I drove it. It was very, very track focused. Let me just type in.
Brilliant.
What year was it? It was in. Was it 2025? Was it?
It was only a year ago that you drove it.
Oh yeah, of course it was. I was thinking it was like bloody 2021, but no, it was. Yeah, it was last year. Yeah.
Wow.
It was really, really cool. The only thing is with this reborn one, because they've come back with this,
right,
is the price has gone up a fair bit. So what you're demonstrating is you can access very similar and very impressive track day performance. It's not even like Caterham. It's more than Caterham, really, in terms of some of the I think the mechanical grip in these is a bit higher because they've got a really modern chassis setup on it. But yours is under 30k, whereas nowadays I think they're going for over 100k new.
Wow, that's incredible. So, and the benefit I have on my one is yours didn't have a windscreen, but mine does.
Yeah.
So it's practically the perfect daily.
Yeah, here you go. So the RZ now is about 140 grand as a new car.
Wow. Okay. So this one is 30 grand.
A budget way into a plus 100k.
29,995. I don't know how they've found another 110,000 pounds.
They did. The new one is being developed forward quite a bit more, and they're going to change the engine and stuff like that. But I mean, that's still an exceptional car for track day drivers.
Manual, yeah.
I think if I was popping down the shops though for a bit of Tesco's update,
it would be
might be a little bit chilly in January.
You would have popping down to the shops ever.
It's probably got semi-slicks on it, hasn't
You're
it?
being a little bit,
Has it got
you're
semi-slicks?
just being a bit delicate, Sam. But if that's the case, I've got you covered.
Right.
Because currently, well, it's not up for auction. It's coming up for auction. Is, I think, maybe the best car that's not an obvious choice.
Yeah.
It is a Series 2 Lotus Exige.
I love these.
Because they
Great
are
car.
epically fun.
Yeah.
They will feel, every journey that you take will feel like an event. I think they have aged superbly along the lines of your V8 Vantage.
Yeah.
I think that these have aged fantastically. Mine's a year older than yours as well,
Yeah.
2005. And you can pop out the center section as a T-top and let some of let the sun beat down on your head.
And you've got
as you're driving
mirrors from a
around.
Metro.
Oh, they function as mirrors. At least the engine's not from a Metro.
No, yeah.
This one being the 1.8 litre Toyota unit.
Yeah.
So it's
Supercharged.
I don't
supercharged?
think this one's
Oh.
supercharged. No, so it's a non-supercharged one with 187 brake horsepower, but it does have Nitron coilovers on it,
And it weighs about 3 kilograms.
and it does weigh barely anything. Obviously, it's going to be a manual. It's got loads of service history, even a quick release steering wheel.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
getting in and out of it is going to be so easy. I might be projecting my dreams onto no, that's got the wrong name again. Pride of Anglia. But yeah, this is very much a dream car of mine. I think it's such a fantastic, maybe definitely lacks the refinement of a Boxster S or GTS.
Yeah.
It's not going to sound quite as evocative, but I still think that these sound like little touring cars.
Yeah.
They are brilliant. I've been on board one, and it was great. I'd love to drive it. I'd love to own it. That's the car I'm going to put forward.
I thought you'd say that. Well, I'm going to put forward my dream. Dream within maybe one day I could own one car. Because obviously if it was actually a dream car, I'd be going for a Ferrari Luce.
Yeah.
No, but maybe something prancing horse. But I'm going to put forward the Vantage because I genuinely, if I had 25k on the side, I would probably go and buy this car.
Amazing. Well, there you go. Two very different approaches to replacing a Cayman and an S2000. If you like my car or Sam's car, you can actually vote on it. If you're listening to this on Spotify, I'll put up a vote and you can choose which one you like. Or if you think that we did a rubbish job, you can go onto my article on the PistonHeads homepage, click on the thread and pop your suggestions in there. If you don't live in England or you've stayed in your house for the last 2 weeks, it has been freaking roasting hot, and my aircon has been on full blast. When I was daily driving my Fiesta and I was saving up for my now house, I didn't get the aircon. Well, I didn't get it regassed because I had it regassed by a garage and it ran out almost immediately.
Oh.
So I thought it had a leak. And so I went a couple of years without getting it fixed because I was like, I can't really afford to get it sorted. I then had it looked at last year, and another garage were like, we can't find a leak whatsoever. They charged it up. Now it's got aircon. But it's got a busted damper, so I'm driving around in the BMW, which has lovely aircon.
Yeah.
But it did get me thinking, oh, God, these are all features that having not had aircon for a couple of years, and I just remember, like, Goodwood Festival of Speed, long day.
In the traffic.
And then getting into my Fiesta, where it was like a microwave, and being like, the only thing I can do is open the windows and just pray that it cools down a little bit.
Yeah.
Going back to aircon, I'm like, this is the best thing ever. So I found a post by The Angry Dog that says, car features you cannot live without and have spoiled cars that don't have these features for you. Excluding things like power steering, ABS, etc., I'm talking about modern features that would make it a difficult decision to buy a car without. For me, it's LED headlights, DAB radio. DAB radio doesn't really do it for me. There were a lot of people saying, I've got to have DAB radio. But yeah.
A lot of BBC Radio 6 listeners.
There you go.
Yeah.
And aircon. I want to replace my current car. It has LED headlights. Going from a car with xenon straight into LED on the same night showed how much brighter and how much more road the LED headlights lit. I hate them when fitted to other people's cars. Yeah, they are blinding.
Especially if you're in a low car and it's an SUV.
Oh, absolutely. But for me, it's a feature I need on my next car. Same as DAB and AC nowadays, with FM having less stations and the ones I like listening to only being available on DAB. That explains why.
Can I put a shout out for FM radio? It's a no-brainer. Yeah, well, FM radio does still have some, especially if you live in the cities, you'll get like old school, like...
I'm all about the
This
AM.
one's for Dave, yeah. And then like proper old school garage and stuff like that. If anyone's into that, FM still has some gems.
Oh, I'm all about AM. Big up to Harry
What are you
Benjamin
listening to on AM?
and on Radio 5 Live.
Yeah.
Best F1 commentator there is, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, when I get signal, so I usually have to listen to it through the app. But anyway, so he asks, what do you people of PH think? So Harry H says, the ability to decide which safety features I want without having to reset to default every time I start the car.
Agreed.
Yeah. And my one I would add on top of that is, if you do buy a new car, one that you can turn everything off with a push of a button.
Yeah. It's 100%. And those, like, shout out to Renault and Alpine, of course, as well, having the...
And Ferrari, I think, do it too, do they not?
They do, yeah, probably.
I think so.
I'm giving them the latest ones. But shout out to Renault for that. And BMW, shout out for taking yours away because you had a button. It was you press and held the set button, which is obviously the cruise control button on the steering wheel. That switched off all the ADAS. Now it's on the touchscreen. It pops up on screen for a few seconds, but if you miss it, then you have to go into the menus.
I've got actually a really annoying thing in my 4 Series of where the start-stop button resets itself after about half an hour of driving. Oh, God, I hate it so much.
That's interesting.
It's the most... Because there's nothing annoying when you're driving along and then you pull up a junction or a roundabout and you notice a gap, and as soon as you're coming to a stop, it just conks out.
Yeah.
And then it's like, right, I want to floor it and go.
Yeah,
and, it's like, and then it, but that little split second infuriates me.
I'm so glad that stuff has stopped because most cars are at least mild hybrid now. The start-stop thing has kind of gone away, thankfully, because if you stop the car, the electric's what's giving you the push anyway, isn't it?
I need to get it like a little chip
mapped in. Yeah, exactly. I'm sure you can.
So similarly, Kobayashi Maru 86 says, if it's a daily... Yeah, I know.
Kobayashi was back in the day, wasn't he?
I know. I'm a big Kobayashi fan. Love Kamui. He says, a button to turn off all the ADAS crap.
Yeah, agreed, yeah.
Heated mirrors, a head unit that does Android Auto, and of course, there's a lot of shout-outs for aircon. I think that's a given nowadays.
Yeah.
Hazar said, my dad once advised me to look for a car with inertia reel seatbelts. I followed this advice ever since. I'd be amazed to find a car that doesn't have inertia reel seatbelts from 1990 onwards. I don't know when inertia reel seatbelts came in, but...
I've definitely been in cars recently. My dad's old Elan S3 SE, which didn't come with belts, but someone added them in. That's just got loose belts. And as he's driving along, you're like, God damn it, can you slow down while I try and tighten these up?
I've been in cars where the inertia reel seatbelts have well and truly given up.
Yeah.
And they're just given up the ghost. They also say auto-dimming rear-view mirrors. They just work without any fuss, and whenever I go back into a car without it now, I find it really annoying. Lowski says, I prefer a proper handbrake and not an electric parking brake. I know that's not answering the question, sorry.
Oh, the sorry's
but
nice.
It's true.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I love a good handbrake. Triumph Man, electrically adjustable headrests. This is a proper first world problem.
Yeah.
But having had a car with them and now one without them, I notice the difference. Yes, you tend not to adjust your headrest much, but if you ever lay back the seat just to rest when parked, it's handy to be able to adjust them easily. Plus, most manual headrests seem a right fiddle. Never thought about that.
No, neither have I.
I rarely take a rest in my car.
Yeah.
I'm usually just like, I need to go. I need to get to my destination.
I just have a ton of caffeine.
Yes, exactly. Oh, yeah. Caffeine always solves it. And Metric Max says, for me, it would have to be an engine. Petrol or diesel would be fine. Sam,
that's funny.
What have you got to submit?
Something that I experienced literally this week is cooled, ventilated seats. Amazing.
Oh,
it was because it's been like 39 degrees, 40 degrees I saw on the dash the other day when I was stuck in traffic, and I had the aircon blowing, but the back of you is not getting the aircon.
Mm-mm.
But it does now in cars with ventilated seats. So shout out cooled ventilated seats. I actually think I'd take those over the heated seats, even though I like heated seats in the winter, because once the heating's up, my body temp does go up. But even when the aircon's on full blast on these horrible hot days, my back is still sweating crazy.
My wife's home country is famously exceptionally hot all of the time. She has a Camry that's like 15 years old, and that's the first car I experienced ventilated seats in.
They've been doing it that long. I thought it was more recent.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I guess in countries of where it's like, because obviously it doesn't have heated seats, but it has ventilated seats, so it's just you tap a little button,
they're so good.
Out pops a toggle, you turn it up.
Yeah.
So that and full aircon when you've been, I mean, it can be so hot that the walk from a mall to the car, 30 odd seconds, is enough to get a sweat on.
It's the humidity, isn't it? That's what we have here in the UK.
Horrific.
Yeah.
That is a real a really good feature
Yeah.
that you just don't really get.
Exactly. So when you get them, it's really, really useful. Something that we used to get and we took for granted, but is now very rare, a volume knob.
Oh, man.
It's just not common anymore, and I'm really sad about that. I mean, any kind of knobs in a car, stop laughing in the back, they're all being deleted, and some are coming back. I mean, Volkswagen, with its recent interior reveals, brought back some switches and knobs and stuff like that, which is brilliant, but there are still many guilty parties out there. A nice volume knob, and it's fresh in my mind this because with my Boxster I really want to get a Porsche. Well, I really want to get a double DIN screen, and all the aftermarket ones are touch sensitive volume buttons, and I just refuse, even if they're really, really good value, to have an analog sports car where I have to go tap 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 to change the volume in a car, whereas the Porsche system has a proper proper knob, but it's also 1,500 quid.
And you can do it without looking.
Yeah.
Because then if you can actually do the touch ones without looking, but then you'll always kind of go above where you want to go and then you'll go below where you want to go.
Yeah.
And it's a mess.
I just hate them. Yeah.
Mine is really boring, but I was like, what genuinely could I not live without now? And aircon's obvious. I think that, having a decent heated windscreen is obvious as well. My Fiesta is rubbish in the winter.
That's a good one.
It's like a mouse coughing. Like,
and funnily enough, Ford were the first to put heated windscreens as standard on their cars, right?
Yep. But then as soon as mine got a stone chip, the heated element stopped working.
Oh, so you had it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I've got mine has the element, and it is also kind of annoying because it's one of the first ones, and so you kind of see on a bright day, you see the shimmer of the wire through the windscreen. Yeah. You get used to it after like a year, but to start off with, it used to really irritate me.
It doesn't work now. That's a shame.
But the one thing that I can't live without is memory seats. Because
you share your car.
Because I share my car. So because my wife is a good 20 centimeters shorter than I am, our driving positions are drastically different. And I also have in fact, it's a funny thing. I think it was before you and I met. There was several people told me of something called the Sheehan driving position, where apparently you have a slight reputation for having a very racy driving position.
I didn't know this.
Yes, there is
so many things
it's
I'm learning.
known that you have the Sheehan driving position, which is apparently steering wheel right up to your chest and quite close to the pedals, right?
Well, I like my legs a bit more stretched, but you can't always achieve that in cars these days.
Precisely. But a steering wheel is the most important, kind of quite close, so that your arms are nicely bent.
Yeah.
I have the same driving position.
Good. So the correct driving position.
Yes. So my default when getting into a car is steering wheel pretty much as close as I can get to my chest, because then I can get a good and that kind of works with my leg placement with the pedals. And I find that's the best place to do it. I also try and make my seat quite buckety. So I like the kind of the front of the seat quite lifted and the back to be quite low. Obviously, when my wife gets in the car, she needs to be much closer. Memory seats are a must. When I was looking for my current car, there were so many people that had bought the big engine option and gone manual seats. Why? What are you doing? Stop being cheap. Yeah. Buy some freaking memory seats.
I do agree, actually. The memory seats are quite nice when I've jumped into, so when I've shared a car, or when you're, you get in the winter and you're like, I've got a big puffer coat on.
Yeah.
You can have a winter setting and a summer setting, because in the summer, you're naturally sat closer to the back of the seat because you haven't got your big puffer on. Going back to the steering wheel positioning, by the way, anyone who's currently listening to this in the car, if it's safe to do so, if you're in traffic ideally or stopped, lean your shoulders against your seat, push back into your seat, and put your right or left arm onto the steering wheel.
That's it,
and see if your wrist, so just behind the back of your hand, falls neatly onto the top of the wheel. And if it does, then you probably got it set perfectly for this.
Yep.
If it doesn't, if it's too far away or it's too close, you might need to adjust your wheel.
That's a very good point. Nothing irritates me more than seeing people get into a car and their hands or arms are fully outstretched to touch the wheel. Stop. Or driving a track day like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a completely different subject, and we will definitely ramble on about it on another episode. But for now, that has been the Gassing Station podcast. Thank you ever so much for listening. That was quite a fair old ramble about the Luce. If you like what you listen to, please give us a 5-star review and maybe leave us some nice words. That's it for us. Sam, anything you'd want to add?
Well, we've got Le Mans coming up.
We do, haven't we? Yes. Very excited.
Le Mans. Yeah.
I'm off to Monaco as well next week.
Oh my God.
Yes,
I'm very excited. That's going to be fun.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of stuff to talk about when we get back.
Oh, 100%. And on that note, I shall see you next Tuesday.